Hello internet, Yulia speaking, and today it is raining as all hell. I've got this dramatic face on, so I was thinking we could talk about the most sob-worthy films that I have watched in my lifetime that I could remember. This is a long title. Let's just keep going. Sorry if the lighting is kind of all over the fucking place because, as I said, it is raining and it's not that nice today, and I just kind of want to cry, and it's also exam season, so it's absolutely perfect timing for this video. So I have split this thing into 4 main categories. We're gonna start off with the classics, so the sort of sad movies that you would have definitely heard of. Top of that list is, of course, the Titanic. There is literally nothing that I need to say here because everyone knows about it, or at least has seen memes about it, and everyone knows it's sad, and literally every time I watch it I cry. It's like a instant reflex. I can't actually say that it's one of my favorite sad movies, but it's definitely up there. Second of the classics is The Notebook, which again, everyone knows about it. Everyone knows that Nicholas Sparks movies make people cry, and books in general. Anyways, this is another one of those that every single time I watch it I will cry 100%, and it's also in the rare genre where it's a sad movie so you cry, but it's not like a sad movie. Like there's a fine line where it still feels like it's a happy ending, but you're sobbing your eyes out. And The Notebook walks that perfect line, and I love that. And the final classic that I just want to mention before I get into my choices is Romeo plus Juliet. This is quite an old film. It's the one with Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh my god, my heart. First of all, I had the hugest crush on young Leo. It's just like I can't even speak about it. And second of all, I'm not really a fan of the Romeo and Juliet type situation, but this movie was so beautiful and so well done, and it was like a modern-ish twist on Romeo and Juliet, but not like extremely modern. It was really good. That is probably the only Romeo and Juliet retelling that I've seen so far, because God knows there are so many that I genuinely really loved. I would recommend that one. And now that we're done with the ones that everyone obviously has heard about, we're gonna move on to my personal favorite romances that never fail to make me cry. The first one of these is The Age of Adaline. This is a relatively new film, and by relatively I say because it has been a few years, but it doesn't feel like it's not Titanic time period, if you get what I mean. This is about a woman who got in a car accident and she got struck by lightning while in water, and this whole combination of events basically means that she just stopped aging. She is not getting old anymore, and that kind of leads to a very solitary life as she has to keep hiding from government agencies that are trying to find her because it's something new, and like she would essentially be a lab rat if like they did find her. But that whole fantastical aspect is not actually the main plot point. It's more about her finally finding someone for whom she would want to stop running and how that plays out, and it's a beautiful story. It's really beautiful. Watch it. Blake Lively's in it. She's fantastic. I forget the name of the guy actor, but he's also really great. It's like comedic moments, and it's the cutest, but also makes you cry a lot. And my second in the romance category is The Secret Scripture, which is one that I talked about quite recently because I watched it quite recently, and I'm pretty surprised that it made it onto my sob-worthy list. So it's during the Second World War, it's in Ireland, and it's about forbidden love. I think that's the way I'm going to phrase it. It's got a lot of other life-related aspects that wean into it, but I think for the most part, maybe watch it without knowing too much apart from that, and the fact that it's gonna make you cry. Because I think that's all you really need to know when you go into that one. So yeah, Secret Scripture, World War II Ireland, Forbidden Love. So this next category is one that I kind of made up by myself, and I don't know if it's gonna make sense, but I'm calling it the dramatic journey. And it's everything that is not a romance, but it will make you cry because the character has some kind of journey that they go through. First one in that category is Lion. This is the most beautiful film ever. I have recommended it to basically every single person I know. Please watch it. I feel like there hasn't been a lot of hype about it, but it's so good. It's about a guy who grew up in Australia with adopted parents, and once he's an adult, he starts thinking back to his roots and trying to remember what was happening to him when he was a kid in India, and it's just this really sob-worthy story, and you see flashbacks of him as a child, like losing his family, and it's just, my heart could not handle this movie, and I was crying literally throughout. Normally in one of these movies there's like a single climactic point where I'm like, okay, I'm crying now, this is really bad. But here I was literally crying like every 10 minutes of the film because they just kept playing these flashbacks and they just kept hitting my heart every time. Whew. Okay, I am composed. But yes, Lion, watch it. One of the dramatic journeys, really good. Second dramatic journey that I want to mention is a film called Room, and it's based on a book by the same name. And it's about a girl who got kidnapped when she was 17, and she's been stuck in this room, and she's been raped multiple times almost every day by the guy that caught her and like trapped her in this room. And in the meantime, the past 5 years of her being trapped in there, she's been raising a kid that she gave birth to also in that room by herself. And it's a story about her surviving that and the kid that's grown up in a single room and how he sees the world because of it. Really, it's really interesting to see from the kid's point of view because a lot of the movie is from his point of view. But yeah, so as with any story of that kind, there is going to be the sob-worthy moments. Next up is A Dog's Purpose, which, oh my god, this is one of the few animal movies that really got to me. I feel like for the most part I don't really like the animal ones because they either feel too realistic, and then I'm just like, oh my god, can someone please save this puppy? And I don't like that because I can't handle animal cruelty in film. But this is not that. It's just a really beautiful story of this dog that's essentially getting reincarnated into different dogs and how all those lifetimes play together. It was so fantastic, and I loved that it was quite a few short stories and each one had a beautiful arc, but they also all tied together, and it was just so good. And I was crying all the time because every time that dog died I was like, no, can't it just be happy? Number 4 in the dramatic journey category is Hacksaw Ridge, which is also one that I watched quite recently, this year for sure. I don't know if it came out this year, I'm thinking last year or the year before that, but still quite recent in movie terms. And it's about a guy who goes into the military with the intention of saving people and not killing them, and he is completely against even touching a gun, and it's about this single battle after which loads of people are just left to die in the battlefield. It's about him saving all those people, and it's just, and it has like flashbacks to his actual like life back home and who he was as a person, and I feel like this was a real true story, but it was so powerful, I feel, and I was crying a lot. Really good one. It's a war film, so I don't know if that's your cup of tea or not, but I feel like this was again one of the few war films where it felt really real, but not to the extent where it was like gore in your face every 3 seconds. This focused much more on the actual people than the fighting. And the final one in the journeys is Before I Fall with Zoe Deutsch. I think that's how you say her name, but I really love that actress, and mostly I've seen her in more like comedic roles, but here it was a drama and it was so good, and she was so good in it. It's about a girl who wakes up one morning and realizes that she's starting to repeat the same day over and over again, and it keeps ending with her getting into a car accident and dying. And it's about how she starts, like how her mentality starts changing, and she goes on a journey, on a mental one, by still being in the same day. It was really good in my opinion, and this was one of those sad ones that is sad and not Notebook happy sad, if you get what I mean. But I still had to put it on here because I did really love it. And I'm gonna finish off with 2 animated films that are also really sobworthy and are my all-time favorites. First one is one that I watched relatively recently, so last December-ish. It's an anime film and it's called Your Name, and loads of people have heard about it. It's been shown in like big cinemas, and not just anime fans have been raving about it. It's about a guy and a girl who keep waking up in each other's bodies and then returning back to their own and not remembering what they were doing, and how they communicate with each other through their diaries, and they tell each other what they've been doing when they were in each other's bodies for a few days. And it has that paranormal aspect, but it also has like an overall story of them desperately trying to find each other but not understanding why it's not working, and how like it's all connected. And oh my god, the scenery. This was such a beautiful animation. I can't even. I feel like one of the main things of why like an anime or an animation specifically would be sobworthy to me is if it looks so beautiful I could literally cry. And I think a lot of that was here, and why it hit me so hard, because it was art. Definitely recommend this one. And I'm gonna finish off with an all-time favorite animation. This is a Studio Ghibli one, and it's definitely my favorite Studio Ghibli film as well. Howl's Moving Castle. This was a childhood favorite and then grew into a teen favorite, and it's like a now favorite. I can't say it's an adult favorite. Am I an adult? Who knows? Anyways, I adore this film. It's about a girl who has never felt good in her own skin, and she gets cursed at some point to look like a grandmother, and then she tries to search for a wizard to reverse the spell, and she stumbles across Howl and his moving castle, and she starts living there and like doing the upkeep and stuff. And all the characters are fantastic, and how they work together, and how they just like keep picking up strays as they go along traveling in his moving castle, and it's just it was wonderful. And it had so many heartbreaking moments but also so many heartwarming ones, and I'm just it always makes me so happy. It's weird how these sobworthy films all make me so happy, but I feel like for me that's a really important aspect of a movie that I cry in. It's the fact that in the end they still make me happy. Like, I want to cry in them and I want to feel all the emotions, but then still feel like I enjoyed myself in the end and that I watched something powerful, and that's why I was crying, rather than everything just went to hell, if you get what I mean. Okay, so I hope that in this sad and rainy exam season you find something that you want to watch and cry it out, and I don't know, get back to work, or maybe watch a few more things, or maybe you just find some recommendations that you can add to your list and watch later. But anyways, I hope you liked it. Maybe press the like button if you did, subscribe if you want to see more. I put up videos every Friday, and end a rant.